Hello and welcome to Will Henry's workshop, where we look at high-tech solutions and then pretend they don't even exist. So it is that we contoured this barrel for a Kimber rifle by simply offsetting our tailstock and cutting the tapers that way, and then cutting the transition just almost by eye. And I'll show you this and explain how I did it. There we go. So we tapered the first part of the barrel at 0.0046 per inch, and then the second section was 0.0081 per inch, and then this transition is a concave transition up to the shank. And to cut that, I use this contour gauge, which I can just set against the original barrel and to establish my contour there, and then I can use this on the barrel I'm working on to ensure that I've at least come close to matching the concave contour there, and that worked out fine. So then I just finished that up with a file, and to file that concave transition, believe it or not, that's done with a triangular file, and just by hand and following the transition that I've established with the lathe. Now, when I'm establishing this concave section here, what I'll do is I'll take a couple of places. I'll measure on the original barrel diameters in a couple of places on this transition, and then I'll turn to that size in those two places, and that gives me a reference so that I can kind of try and get the contour that I want. And then once I've done that, like I say, then I go over it with the file. And now that I've done this, I'll take it to the vise and I'll draw file the whole thing a little bit, just to smooth out the transition and to ensure there are no ripples in the finish of the barrel. And then the next step, of course, is going to be to set it up in the headstock and the four-jaw chuck, and to fit it to the Kimber action and chamber it. And being a Kimber, this has got a cone breech and an extractor slot, but apart from that, it's pretty straightforward. This is going to be chambered for the 6.5 by 55, and which is a cartridge I quite like, although in reality it doesn't do a lot more than what the 6.5 Creedmoor or the 260 Remington do. It probably produces, loaded to the same pressures, probably produces about 50 or 60 feet a second more than a Creedmoor, and but nonetheless, I kind of like the cartridge, and it fits in this particular action pretty well. So I think it's going to work out well. In this chamber, we'll be cutting the throat separately because I use a throater to produce a match style throat, which is a parallel throat that's roughly half a thousandth larger than nominal bullet diameter, and generally I throat it so that it takes the bullet that we plan to shoot, seated right to the base of the neck, and that's that. But so anyway, that's what this is going to end up like. And and apart from that, like I say, it's very straightforward. It'll end up at 23 inches, and on the Kimber, it should make a really nice little mountain rifle. And like I say, it's a cartridge that I'm actually quite fond of. This barrel is an 8-inch twist, which there again will work out fine for any bullets a person's likely to use in the 6.5. Now, before I turned to this transition, I also had set the tailstock back to center and indicated it so that the tailstock center is properly aligned with the axis of the machine, and then I set up and did this, and I like to do that right away to set the barrel up, or to reset the tailstock center. I like to do that right away because the one time that I didn't, I came pretty close to ruining a barrel by cutting half of the chamber with the tailstock still offset by about 20 thousandths. So fortunately I caught it in time and saved myself the embarrassment of having to start all over again. But anyway, for that reason, I always set the tailstock back to center as soon as I'm done cutting my tapers. But so that's about it for today. A short segment that doesn't have too much, or I didn't have really too much to say, and which may well be a blessing. So anyway, so for now, this is Will Henry, and I'll see you next time.